Every story holds a spark of the human spirit. It's time to really let that light shine. This is Conjuring the Human Spirit, hosted by Shawn Meeks, a space for honest conversations, deep connection, and the shared journey of being fully alive. This season, Shawn also welcomes guests who open up about their own transformations and experiences, reminding us all what it means to heal, grow, and thrive, one story at a time. You're invited. Let's begin.
Welcome back to Conjuring the Human Spirit. My name is Shawn Meeks, and we're back with Max Fernald for a second conversation around trans and gay and the separation between us. And I mean, we had a fiery conversation in the first time we talked. And if you missed that, check it out. That was our last week's episode. So welcome back. We're going to dive real deep this episode, and I'm glad you decided to join us. Yeah, it's unbelievable how these ripples of love impact the human spirit. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we've already talked about the ripples of hate, you know, and hate. I mean, there's hate, and then there's misunderstanding, and then there's the lack of even acceptance. You know, my mother, I don't know that she could understand. I don't think she could get to this place. I don't know that it was hate. You understand what I mean?
Right.
I just think there was an inability to accept. And I'm so grateful for my dad and for your Gramps and for our relationship. And I just can't understate the importance of acceptance and love to understand and to be understood. It's so important. I was down reminds me of a story, I was down at the vet's office here. You know, the farm is in the middle of nowhere, middle Georgia, and the Bible Belt. And I was taking my dog in. He had a little something going on. And the young vet there figured out what was going on and gave me the medicine for the dog. And then he said, with tears in his eyes and with a quivering lip, he said, "Can I ask you something personal?" Now, the room was filled with nurses and him and me, and I was like, I didn't know him, and I was like, sure. I mean, I had no idea what was about to come to me, and when I said yes, then the nurses left the room like they knew what was coming. I didn't know what was coming, and the doors closed behind. It was like click, 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 like all the doors. One went out each door, and the doors closed, and it was just me and this young veterinary doctor. And he said to me, you know, again, with the quivering lip and the tears in his eyes, he said, "There aren't many of you around these parts, and I have something that's come up in my life, and I don't know who to go to, and I was wondering if I could come to you about it." And I said, "Sure, what's going on?" And he said, "There's a guy that I went to veterinary school with, and he came out to me last night as gay." And again, quivering lip, you know, and I don't know what to do. And I found that so, wow, because I'm just so me and accepting and loving, and I'm just me.
Right.
Aren't you just you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure that fellow is just him, you know. But also, I also want to honor that it took a long time for me to say I'm me. And it likely took a long time for you to say you're you, at least saying it out loud. Mm-hmm. Right? And then sometimes I think we say it out loud and then we want everybody just to accept right away without any level of
question or
right.
fear, trepidation, maybe.
Right. Or ability to digest what they've just heard. And so I want to honor that for him. But, you know, when he said that, but what came up for me was interesting. It was just like, I said to him, love him.
Yeah.
And he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Just love him, just like accept him, love him, just act as if he's still the same fella that he was before he told you that. I mean, ask him how you can be there for him, pray for him, everything that you would normally do nothing's changed."
Right.
Except he's told you something. And he goes, "Well, I feel kind of hurt. Like, why didn't he tell me this sooner?" And I said, you know, he was likely figuring it out himself. And now he's come to this place. And the reason I said love him, because I reflected on why that came out so fast, is because I think when you out there who are listening and you hear something about someone who's trans or someone who's gay, and you've got these preconceived notions and these walls go up immediately, and you've heard on your news programs or whatever are flooding your mind, this is the same person that you knew before, and to throw up that wall and to say, I don't ever want to see you again, leaves this void. I mean, this void that is going to get filled by something else. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was drugs and alcohol. For me, it was deviant sexual behavior. For me, it was, just as diving into whoever, first of all, to fill the hole of loss from my family, friends, and mother, all of that. And then also to be accepted mm-hmm. and to be in community. And so how do you want people to react to you, Max, when they find out you're trans or you tell them you're trans?
Well, usually I just want them to be like, oh, okay, and then move on. That would be the best reaction ever. Because being trans doesn't define who I am as a person, right? I mean,
nor does being gay for me.
Right, yeah. We're just people who also happen to be trans or also happen to be gay. So I would love for people to just be like, oh, okay, cool, and then move on. And I'd like to be the same teammate, same classmate, same employee, whatever, just same guy. You just also happen to know that I am trans. And then nothing is different, and I can do everything the same as I've always done.
Yeah, I love the story about your wrestling, because you were on the boys wrestling team, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
And you were kicking some behind?
That is right. Yeah.
So I love that, the flip the script, because there's this dialogue in this country around male to female transitioning.
For sure.
And being in sports and being bigger and stronger than a born female.
And dominating.
Yeah. I mean, but what is your thoughts on that?
Well, that was actually one of my motivations for joining the wrestling team. I kind of wanted to prove myself and to prove that trans people aren't these crazy, transformers who are, just roided up. But I think a lot of people are inherently still misogynistic in some kind of way. I think misogyny actually fuels most of the anti-trans, propaganda, which is interesting because I think a lot of people still in their minds have this idea of females or women, people who are born female, being inherently weaker and, frail, which, of course, I always grew up thinking because I was born female. So I grew up thinking that I'm weaker than everyone else around me and that I'll never be able to, measure up to the guys my age. And so I tried out for the boys wrestling team without the coaches knowing that I was trans. So I joined as a boy. They thought I was just another guy. And I did wrestle-offs and everything else, and I made the team. And I wrestled on the team for about 3 months before they found out that I was trans. And that's only because I eventually had to turn in my physical, which has a big fat F on it. So,
What was the response from the team because you were dominating, right? Were you dominating, or were
I was an equal.
You were equal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was an equal.
Yeah.
Which was plenty for me. I was very happy to see that I was stronger than I believed.
So they said, you can no longer be on the team because you're trans.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And what happened?
A lot of the guys were mad. A lot of the guys were upset because I was friends with them. I mean, we were classmates. Some of the guys still had questions, which I thought was interesting, and they were not sure what I was, because I pass as a born male, I guess you could say. People look at me and they don't they don't look at me and think, oh, he must be trans. They just see another guy. So a lot of the guys were like, wait, why can't you change in the changing rooms with us? Why are you not in the locker rooms with us? Why do you have to go to the bathroom down the hall? And I'm like, we've gone over this. They've denounced me from the team. They put me on the girls' club. And some of the guys were still like, I don't understand. Why can't you be on the team with us? So I think there was a lot of confusion there. But most of the guys, yeah, they just wanted me to wrestle with them because I won matches for them. So they were like, yeah, let's keep him on the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a fairly positive.
But do you see the difference though between, you were born a female and in a female's body, and you're kicking butt in wrestling with men, and suddenly you're accepted, and you know that's okay. But if you're born a man and you're transitioning to female, and now you're in sports, and you've got a bigger frame, and you've got more testosterone, and you've got, and you're dominating in women's sports, is that fair?
I mean, from what I've researched, I don't see that they're dominating women in sports. I know that for professional athletes, there's a 3-year rule, which is anyone who's transgender has to be on hormone replacement therapy for at least 3 years before they can compete against the team that corresponds with their gender identity. So if you're a trans woman, which is when you're born male and you're transitioning to female, you wouldn't be able to compete at the national level against women until you were 3 years or more on hormone replacement therapy.
So arguably the estrogen levels in the body are equal to that of a naturally born female, but aren't your hands bigger? Like, wouldn't you be able to get that longer swim, that bigger kick from your man feet you're born with man feet?
I mean, they could be. I know a lot of guys who are smaller than me, and I was born female, and I know a lot of girls who are bigger than me, and I was born female. So
what's the argument then? Because they're crushing it, and I mean, they're like crushing it with these huge double-digit numbers in sports.
I mean,
not across the board, but I mean, it has happened.
Right. I mean,
or is that just getting a big? Excuse me. Is that just getting a big spotlight on it?
I think that's getting a big spotlight on it. I don't think there are that many trans athletes in the world, period. And then even if they are, like I said, there are certain rules and guidelines you have to follow. And then, I mean, a lot of women who were born female have genetic predispositions that make them better at certain things. So I don't think it's really as big of an issue as everyone's trying to make it out to be. And even then, people have this problem with bathrooms too. It's all about trans women. Trans women are the problem. Okay, you don't want trans women in women's bathrooms. So you'd like everyone... That
would be a person born a man, transitioning to a woman using a women's bathroom. Yeah, just to be clear, because it can be confusing even for this gay guy.
Yeah. So they want everyone to use the restroom that corresponds to their genitals, I'll say, right? But then what about the trans man who's 5'11", who has a beard and top surgery and maybe even bottom surgery? Where does he go?
So when you say top surgery, you mean having the breasts removed.
Correct.
Bottom surgery is having...
However they do
However
that.
they do it.
However they do that.
Inside out thing.
Yeah,
right?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So, I mean, I know a lot of women who wouldn't be comfortable with their little girl peeing next to a grown man with a beard. That would be strange.
What was notable for me, and I want to thank you again for traveling here from Florida to be with me and sit here, and that's a big deal, and I really appreciate that. And I think to be in service of this misunderstanding, and I know you're committed to that, and so thank you for being here. But what you said to me is, on the way, I used the bathroom illegally about 4 times. First of all, I said, why are you peeing so much?
Well, I drink a lot of water.
Yeah, and I didn't understand that when he told me that. And say more about that.
Well, it was interesting because when I speak about my experience, I just expect everyone to know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
So even when you were confused, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, now I'm confused. Like, how come you don't know that, Florida law states that you have to use the public restroom that identifies with your born sex? And so,
Something I don't think about. I
Yeah.
don't think y'all think about it either. I mean, we don't think about it. If we're not this lived experience, we don't know.
It's not an
why
issue for
That's
you.
why we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So go.
So, I mean, yeah, for me, I was just like, well, it's obvious I can't use the men's restroom legally. I hope this doesn't land me in jail, admitting this, but
That's a scary thought to even have to say that out loud or think that in the free state of Florida, that you can't, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, technically using the bathroom to pee could potentially either land me a ticket or put me in jail, which is crazy, and I probably don't think about that as much as I should.
What's unbelievable to me, first of all, is I see you as who you are, which is a man. And then also, I see you in the stall with the closed door.
Right.
You're not using a urinal.
Yeah, no, can't.
Can't. Right. So, what's the threat? And what's the threat anyway?
I mean, yeah, with me, the only threat possible would be against me, people not liking me in there. I mean, I'm not going in there to like sniff around other dudes' junk. I walk in, I close the door, I go to the bathroom, I wash my hands, and I walk out. So I mean, there
You're
is
going to
no
pee.
threat. Yeah,
Ooh,
there's
mention
no
that.
threat there.
The bathroom.
Yeah, I'm just going to use the bathroom. And, with women's stalls, it's the same. There are no urinals, so you go into the stall, you close the door, it's private. No one can peek through.
I think the
So-
scary part is what we were talking about earlier, and what this news article in the Wall Street Journal talks about again, which is around gender identity and the ability to change your birth or your sex on your passport, on your driver's license, and those sorts of things. When we start talking about this born woman with long hair and breasts that identifies as he, him, trans as he, him, but presenting as a woman, and then saying, I am a man. That's how I feel on the inside. So you need to honor that. And then the driver's license is then subsequently changed to reflect male. And then now legally, because he's a male, he can go into any dressing room or any bathroom or anything like that. And so it doesn't seem to be as frightening if we're talking about women doing it, right? But we say there's a man who feels like a woman on the inside, but is presenting as a man. If we just change
Right.
the roles, and then because that's the way I feel on the inside, I want my driver's license and passport to reflect female. And now legally, they can go into a female dressing room and have a penis and disrobe and all of that because they're legally a female, even though they're male presenting. That's what the article talks about.
Right.
So that is kind of, what do you think about that? I think, if I might,
ahead.
what do you think about it? I think you said it earlier around being an advanced species and really stepping into it with ration and reason. Mm-hmm. But also, you also told me earlier that you are criticized by your peers by not being woke enough.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I definitely have more traditional views on certain things. I like what I believe to be rooted in logic, something that I can understand and potentially help others to understand because it makes sense.
And science,
So-
it seems, right?
And science, yeah.
Because and spirit.
For sure.
And you were saying also earlier that a lot of people don't believe in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can't connect how you described your soul not matching your body parts. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is a soul, they were saying.
Right. Yeah. I can't really define what a soul is. It's just my innermost being, purest form of human, maybe. Something that's intangible and something that lasts much longer than our physical beings.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it 100, you know.
I know you do.
Well, I got it from the moment I met you. And I think therein lies at least for this gay guy, the difference between what it means to be trans and what it means to choose to be trans. When I met you, I was afraid to meet you because I have this sense in my spirit when I meet people in my community. I can sense confusion, I can sense disruption. It doesn't make it true. It's a sense that I have around wanting to change the way that we feel. So therefore we're changing our gender because we want to be part of something. What is my motive? What is my intention for doing what I'm doing? And I was afraid when I met you that would be misaligned. And from the moment I met you, I just saw a man, Max. That's what I saw and felt from my spirit to your spirit. That was it. And that doesn't deserve a thank you. That doesn't deserve or anything like that. My approval, or as they say in Tu Wong Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar, is your Vita Bohème says, your approval is neither desired nor required. And mine isn't about you either. But I want to know that's kind of what I felt. And it was a huge relief for me to see the groundedness in you, the old soul that is Magic Max, as you were defined by people that were at the Magic of Listening workshop. And someone else called you something else wonderful, which was what you had said earlier. Oh, somebody else called you another name, but...
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, anyway, I think you're a pretty incredible person. So you deserve all these names, but you're an old soul, you're grounded. You can tell that, what's happening in your spirit, in your body is something that you're not taking lightly.
Right.
And yet still over on this side, there's just some confusion around, as a gay guy, around, and the confusion, which was also outlined in the article, around you guys infiltrating into my gayness, and you guys infiltrating into lesbians, and you're trying to claim that you are, when you're not. And I was saying one of the reasons I'm gay is because I love men. Like I don't know, I can't describe it. It's just like I love being with a man. And so I've been married to one for 30 years. And part of that is sexual, right?
Right.
And so, and I said, so if I was introduced with you, you don't have a penis, so I wouldn't be interested because I'm a gay guy. And, so what do you think about that?
Well,
I just want to say, before I say what do you think, and then I interrupt, but I just want to say, if you are a man, and if you're interested in men, which I don't know, what your sexual preference is, but if a trans man is interested in a man, they call themselves a gay person.
right.
And so, but a trans man was born with a vagina, and so it's a miss for me. How can you be gay if the penis isn't there,
Right. Well, and in that sense, I would say people are much more than their genitals, right? I mean, I'm not defined by a dick or a vagina, right? So I would say that, if as a trans man, if I were to date a man, we would be gay. We wouldn't be straight relationship because I'm a man with another man, right? So it gets a little muddled there if you're defining men by what they have in their pants or by something else. So, I mean, are you addicted, or not addicted, but are you attracted to a person or are you attracted to their genitals? And in that case, maybe you could be attracted to both. And I would say that's more of a preference than your sexuality as a whole, right? You can be attracted to men and then also be sexually attracted to a certain part. And in that case, I would say that's a sexual preference that you have. That's something that you would explore in the bedroom. But love is more than just sex. It's romance, and it's devotion, and it's compatibility. So if I were to meet another gay man, say, and he said, yeah, I'm into men, and, my sexual preference is penises. I wouldn't want to have sex with someone who didn't have that. Then I would say, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly acceptable. We won't work out, and that's okay. Let's just be friends then. Because I don't have what you prefer.
Right.
Just like if someone preferred a man with a beard. I don't have a beard, and I'm not going to grow one anytime soon. So we won't really be compatible if that's your preference.
Well, your preference is not to have a beard.
Right, yeah.
So it's not that you can't grow one. It's just you won't. Or you don't want to.
I don't care to.
And I like guys with beards, so I wouldn't. So it's the same as what you're saying, which was, I know we had this conversation earlier, and it was so illuminating for me, and it was fiery earlier because I was pushing back really around this idea, and you ever so eloquently did it just again, which was to say that I'm more than my genitals, A, and B, if you're not if that's what you're only into, then we're not a good fit.
Right.
And that's okay. Let's be friends.
Yeah.
And you said something else earlier around, but if you say that.
Right. If you say I'm not into people who don't have penises, then that's perfectly acceptable because that's your preference. But if you say I'm only into real men, then that would be a problem because now you're saying because I don't have a dick, I'm not a real man. So it must be a fake one, I guess. So yeah, that's the problem I would have, is if they were discounting my manlyhood because I lack a certain part. Because then you are really basing a person down to what's in their pants. And I think that people are way more complex than that.
I agree. I mean, I had to reflect on my own thinking even when... because I had to check myself because I really love everything about a man, and not just their penis. And so if I were to meet you, not you, but if I were to meet a trans person and fall in love with that person, it would be their whole person. I mean, you would disclose, in advance.
Right.
Right. But it would be the whole person. And there would be I would think I would pause. I would think I would have a real pause around what is important and, really kind of check myself a little bit around that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great conversation. The article is just afraid of that, saying that any trans person with a dick is now, a trans woman with a dick is now a lesbian because they like women and they're trans. And that was a big interrupt for lesbians.
Right. Well, and I even have a personal instance here. My older sister, she's a lesbian. And we talked about this because the discourse has been there about certain sexual preferences with genitals and everything else. And my sister explained to me that she wouldn't mind being with a trans woman because she didn't have a sexual preference. She just loved women. And so she was like, as long as the trans woman was a woman, then I would have no problem being in a relationship with her. Mm-hmm. And some people feel that way, and some people have stronger preferences. And so I don't think we're infiltrating any kind of space. I think we just would like to belong and fit in, while we're not trying to control what makes a lesbian and what makes a gay man. I think they're more complex identities.
Well, I think that's what you think also, but I think what this article is talking about is there is a bit of control. The article was referencing when people had different opinions about what they thought gay was, or how we're different, how trans people are different than gay people. They were fired from their jobs. They were talking about advocates, people that were gay, lesbian, that were working for GLAAD, which is an organization that really stands for the gay community, and working in that major national organization, and made a statement about it. And suddenly they were transphobic and they lost their jobs and all of that. And so we're just cancel culture within our own. So it almost is like you're saying it has to be this way. And if it's not, then you're transphobic.
Right.
And I think that's the scary part. You know, I'm thinking about even RuPaul, and, when they used, when in the early episodes, in the early seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race, when she said, "You got she-male." You know that?
I don't really watch.
Well, now it's, she done all right and had her. No, what is it? I can't think of it. But anyway, she had to change it. I can think is the end of it. She could no longer say, "You've got she-male." They could no longer refer to them as women because of the trans movement. We're talking about someone who's been genderqueer from the time she came out of the womb, from mohawks and boots and all of that, just paving the way in our community, then getting vilified for not accepting and really having to alter it because getting canceled, cancel. I think, again, that's what this article was talking about, is when we're getting so militant, even within ourselves. And again, I wonder the angle of the article being that it's a conservative newspaper, and does it want us to have these discussions and create more vitriol between the G and the T and separate us even further? And I just want to say no. Like, it brings me sadness that even back in the early 2000s, when they said you can have the LGB, but we are not going to accept the T, and we said that's fine. We'll take what we can get for now.
Yeah. And
now we're forgetting about the T. And that's the T.
That's the T.
That's the T.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that there could be a lot more discussion, open discussion for learning. I think that it's perfectly fine to have questions. I think where we get into a dangerous place is when we start excluding trans people from the queer community, like the LGBT community. Because I think in the article, it said something about how certain, like, some gay people and lesbian people said that trans people really didn't belong in the community, which to me doesn't really make sense, because I think we're all fighting together. We're all fighting for our rights together. So I think that's where it gets dangerous. I don't mind people having questions, and I don't mind talking with people and discussing things, but I do have a problem if people are trying to shut me out of my own community that I'm actively fighting for. I mean, I'm not just fighting for trans rights, but I'm out here at my MMA studio fighting some homophobic instructor because being gay shouldn't be a problem in sports. So, I mean, I'm fighting both.
I think, well, and thank you for that. And I feel it. I'm fighting for you too, young man. I will say that I think there's been a bit of laziness on our part because we have forgotten the fight. There's a whole generation of people that are just sliding into this acceptance that they think was there the whole time. And I can assure you, we were marching with, Pride was a party, don't get me wrong, but it was a march first, and we were serious, and we were chanting, and we were crying, and I lost my mother, and I was in the arms of mom-hugged women crying because I didn't have a mom at 19 and 20 and 21. I was just in Savannah Pride, and I was crying, and they were crying, and I'm giving them money and thanking them for being there and being there for queer people who are losing their families. And it was a real thing, and it is becoming a real thing again. And we've got to stick together. We have to. And I think as, Oberfeld is coming before the Supreme Court again, looks like they're going to take it up, maybe take away my marriage. And for the next generation, it won't be there. And, it's interesting because here we're building community here in Central Georgia. And if you're a gay man of my age and you're looking for a community and you can work remotely, come to Central Georgia and move to my little town here. We're 12 of us. We have homes. We have dinner parties, and it's kind of like it used to be. We talk about how it used to be back in the day when we loved each other, when we greeted each other with a hug, when we kissed one another, when we greeted each other. We talk about what it used to be like and how we remember the Christians with the signs yelling and screaming at us and telling us how horrible we were. And I know that's what your community's facing now. And I want you to know that's what we were facing then. And we remember that. We gay men at 50, 60 years old, we remember that. And so as this is coming again, we're saying they're all freaking out. And I'm gathering everybody together and say, listen, we remember. We are the elders in this community.
Right.
We can teach you how to do this. And it's not in this article. It's not saying you are different than us. It's saying you are a part of us and we are in this together. And this is how you do it. And how we did it was we marched and then we danced. I'm gonna cry. We marched and then we danced, and we said, we know who we are and we love each other, and we marched and danced. And their opinion of us didn't take away our joy. And now our joy is stolen again. It's stealing. The joy is stolen from you. The joy is being stolen from us. And so we need to remember again to march and then dance and be together in community, loving and supporting each other, not separate.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree. And especially as the younger queer generation, I mean, we don't have a lot of guidance. I know me personally, it feels like I'm kind of just been set out to like fight for all my rights by myself. And I think we could use guidance from the people who have done it before and the people who have gone from, illegal marriage to then having happy, successful gay marriages.
30 years.
30 years, yeah.
How about it? You were just in the magic of listening, and there were a lot of gay, lesbian people in that. And can you reflect on how that was for you in comparison to where you come from? What was it like to be in community with gay and lesbian people and in an intimate way in the magic of listening?
Yeah, it was first of all, it was a huge culture shock. For those of you who don't know, I'm from a small southern town in Florida, and we don't really have gay people there. So I was very surprised to see that you had like successful, happy marriages. A lot of the marriages I know didn't last, and it kind of made me reevaluate a lot of things.
You mean gay marriages that didn't last?
No, straight marriages.
Oh, straight
that didn't
marriages.
last. Yeah. All the marriages that I grew up around really didn't last.
Ah.
And they were all straight people. So, no offense.
And then you came here and...
I came here and I saw that all the people here were just like genuinely happy and enjoying their lives, even though they were still facing hardships. And, just meeting with these people and learning that they had already kind of fought the fight that I'm fighting now, and they've like kind of come out on the other side. It was a big motivator, and it really lifted my spirits up a lot to just see that these people were successful and happy and that they've overcome these hardships. So yeah, I mean, I've loved meeting older gay people. I didn't really know that they existed the way that they do here and with this community you have. It was beautiful, honestly.
Well, honestly, thank you for that. And it was beautiful to have you here.
Thank you.
And you're invited back, having another Magic of Listening workshop in March 20th, 21st, 22nd here at the farm. You're invited. Your mom is invited. You guys are invited to come and sit in this magic with Magic Max. I don't know if he's going to be here or not for this one, but you're certainly invited. And it was refreshing because you were half the age of people here, and so great to have this young perspective. And that's why you're sitting here with me today, because I need to be reminded, and I was reminded when you were here, and as were the other gay and lesbian people that were in the group when you were sharing during the weekend. There was just tears of empathy, of this remembering. I had a remembering of what it was like, what the fight was like, your courage to be, you're not alone. And I think you learned that weekend.
I have, definitely.
You're definitely not alone. And this article says you're going to be alone. And I want to reassure you that you are not alone, and you're not going to be alone. And you're part of the LGBT. You are a letter, just like I am. But bigger than that, you're an integral part of our community. I want to honor Marcia, the trans woman who threw the first brick at Stonewall, that in 1969, that started this entire civil rights movement for the LGBT. It should start with T. She's the one that started it, and to honor her for saying we deserve to be treated like human beings. We are human beings. And, having you there, I think it sparked in all of us this remembering how to have joy. You brought such joy that weekend, and that the fight's not over.
Right.
And we stand behind you, young man, as you navigate these treacherous waters. And this is what this conversation, and why I wanted to have this conversation with you today, because even as a gay man who loves you and loves trans people, I don't understand.
Right.
And even as a trans man, I'm hearing you don't either. Right?
Not really.
And so I want to say to all of you that are watching, it's okay not to understand. And my dad, your Gramps, he doesn't understand.
That's right.
But he steps with ripples of love, these ripples of love, this love that is just this willingness to understand and to love and to be in the fight with us for equality, to be in community, to be in, to not feel alone in a time when they say we're in a loneliness epidemic, and to be reminded that we have each other, LGBT people, we have each other. We need to come together and continue to come together in love and support and community, and we need to fight like hell, and we need to dance.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, yeah, I think we just need to hold each other's hands and run through the fire together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have much better chances together than on our own. And I think there may have been some, intentions of maybe trying to further divide us in that article. I don't know who wrote it, and I don't know why. But, I mean, I think they want division because they know that makes us more vulnerable. And I think if we can all come together and have more difficult conversations, maybe learn a few things about each other and, just be in community with each other, I think we'll be much better off. And we can win our fight. I know that.
What does it look like to win?
Looks like to love and to just be accepted and to not have to be afraid and own the world the way that everybody else does.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm in that fight with you, and thank you again for making the long trip here to be with me. And I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you. I love my community. I don't think that there's any separation, and I want to thank everybody else for being with us as we navigate these waters of I think Judge Judy says Michigan, of this misunderstanding, but also with this idea of really to be understood, to understand, and to be understood. And thanks everyone for taking a breath with us to do just that today.
Yes,
so,
thank you.
Come back and we'll see you next week on Conjuring the Human Spirit.
You've been listening to Conjuring the Human Spirit with Shawn McGuire Meeks. To connect with Shawn, learn more about working one-on-one, or to grab your spot for an upcoming workshop, visit McGuireLife.com or tap the link in this episode's description. Thank you for joining us, and remember, you're not alone.